Went to the finals, never lost.
You never got there, Lamar.
Who?
You.
I've been a one-on-one champ. Never lost one-on-one.
All right.
Back at it again, Cigar Spencer. You know what time it is when you hear me. It is time for the most intriguing games of the week. We're down to 5 left in East Texas. 10-5. A lot of East Texas teams eliminated by the hands of other East Texas teams. It was a great week. Thanksgiving. A lot of family, a lot of fun, and of course a lot of football. A lot of great football played over this week. A lot of teams took an L this week. Texas High went out this week. In a close one to P&G. I thought they were going to win that one. Marshall took a big L to Sock. Sock kind of dominated that game from the start to the end. And then, of course, some East Texas teams lost to the hands of some other East Texas teams like Jefferson to Malakoff and then Winnsboro to Liberty Eylau. So a great festive week. Let's talk about the team of the week. It is those Leopards from Liberty Eylau in Texarkana. What a game. If I would have lost money if I would have bet. I would have thought that Winnsboro was going to take care of LE, but LE came out on fire with 8 offensive touchdowns. I think all in the first half. Maybe, I don't know about that. I think it was like 56-21 at halftime. Winnsboro came battling back, made it 56-49 because they're that talented. But what a performance from Trip Baysinger, responsible for all 8 of those touchdowns. And we'll talk more about him as we get into the player of the week. But the team of the week are those Leopards from Liberty Eylau. What a performance. And they're setting up a huge game and a big showdown with Malakoff. And we'll talk more about that towards the end of the show. So let's get into those actual top 10 players of the week. At number 10, junior from Carthage, Benny Smith. Slow game from Carthage. They really weren't very explosive. The typical suspects, KJ Edwards and Jet Surratt, really just didn't go off like most of us expect them to each and every week. But Benny Smith, the Thunder to the Lightning pair duo, went off in the fourth. He had pretty much all his touchdowns and yards came in the fourth quarter. 13 carries, 103 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like all 3 touchdowns coming in the fourth quarter, 2 huge runs, and then a short one that he punched in, putting away Pleasant Grove, who had a great year. Pleasant Grove, silent kind of this year, and you kind of expect that when you have that much D1 talent lead. Carthage moves on after a great effort from Benny Smith. At number 9, Mike Jones. Mike Jones from Malakoff, the quarterback, does it again. Typical game from him, not big in the yardage this time. Jefferson really did a great job of containing him. He didn't go for the 2-and-2 like he usually does, but he still went for 103 yards on the ground. And he went for 118 on the ground with 2 touchdowns, and he added 161 passing yards. And then he walks over on the defensive side of the ball and catches an interception as well. So a well-rounded game from Mike Jones, probably the player of the year if you just go off of how well Malakoff has done and how he's done week in and week out. And it'll be very interesting to see what they do against LE. We'll talk more about that later. At number 8, it's raining in here. No, it's just Rain Wallace. Rain Wallace from Dangerfield. 3 catches, 165 yards, and all 3 of his catches went to the crib. What a game for Rain Wallace. They tried to man him up, and they could not run with him. Dangerfield being aggressive, throwing the ball downfield, hitting up Rain Wallace down the field. Chase Johnson, an incredible game. We'll talk about Chase later on in the game. But Rain Wallace, not only is he a dominant and dynamite receiver, he also plays safety. Came up with a very crucial stop at the end of the game to stop Newton. And so, not at the end of the game, but during different series of the game. So he was just a dominant and dynamic player throughout the game, and he hits the number 8 spot for that. At number 7, Jacqueline Sheffield, with his 2 interceptions against Navasota, and both interceptions, pretty decent play. The second one was decent, but the first one was an immaculate play. He steps in front of a pick, and then he does the rest. He goes to the crib and returns it. Not only, it's huge to turn the ball over, especially in the playoffs, but to catch a pick and then take it all the way back to the crib is demoralizing to an offense and to a team. And that is an emotional, big swing for Kilgore, like they needed it. They're very talented out there, but Jacqueline Sheffield, very, very good game from him, lands number 7 spot. And number 6 from Longview, the linebacker Kason Brooks. He had 9 tackles, 1 sack, and then incredible pick 6 against Klein Collins this week for Longview's 42-28 win. He was spying the quarterback. He was actually coming to tackle the guy. He pulls up and throws, and he just jumps up like a cat, snags the ball out of the air, and runs it back to the house. So an incredible play there from Kason Brooks, and he lands on the list again because he's just been making play after play in this playoff run. At number 5, Jackson Moffitt from Van. He was 18-28 for 213 yards and 2 touchdowns, and also had 2 touchdowns on the ground for Van, and a pretty impressive comeback win over Sunnyvale. Moffitt, slow and steady. They finally broke loose, throwing a deep ball, but on a really great out and up L route from the receiver. And then later on in the game, he dimes up a couple of more plays for those 2 touchdowns, and then punches it in while he's on the goal line. He's the heart and soul. That Moffitt team, head coach Moffitt, quarterbacks Jax Moffitt, the running back is Austin Moffitt. So it's a family affair in Van, and it's pretty cool to see them continue to go deep into these playoffs, playing a very familiar team in Carthage. We'll talk more about that when we get to it. At number 4, Kason Brooks, again, what an efficient night. He had 18-22 for 247 yards and 4 passing touchdowns. We rave about him. I rave about him week in and week out. He is the difference maker, and he is the keys to the car down there in Kilgore. I think he's the biggest reason why, and I say it week in and week out, I think he's the biggest reason why I think they're going to win state. He is efficient throwing the ball. He is electric when he scrambles it. He's really smart. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's really what you want in a playoff quarterback, and somebody that's bound to make a very special run because he's been on fire the last 3 weeks. At number 3 from Longview, the running back Boosie Washington, 19 carries for 229 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. He also had a couple of catches and like 3 catches for like 57 yards. Well-rounded night for Boosie. And of course, that day, Boosie goes over 100. Once he goes over 132 yards, he broke the 2,000-yard record, school record for most yards in a season. An incredible feat. He pushed over Vondrell McGee's 2,000 yards in 13 games, and then he even pushed over the top dog Fred Talley in 1997 and his 16-game effort. Boosie, when he went over 132 yards, captured that record, and he finished the night with 229 yards. Phenomenal feat from a phenomenal player, and Longview's got a big one against DeSoto this week, so it'll be fun to watch this one. At number 2, Chase Johnson, Dangerfield. He went 12 of 19 for 324 yards, 5 touchdown passes, and then he added another rushing score and 75 rushing yards on the ground. Vintage Chase Johnson. If you've watched Chase Johnson over these last 2 seasons as a sophomore, he is a very highly productive player. He's going to put yards up. Kind of started out slow. Didn't have the yards that I thought he would have had going into the season, but in this playoff run, he has turned it up another 2-3 notches. He is putting on. He is taking advantage of man-to-man coverage. He's throwing the ball out there, and he's got some dudes to go get it. Kenny Mosley, Rain Wallace, like we talked about earlier. He's got it. He's got the weapons. The offensive line is giving him the time, and then he's choosing to run the ball wisely. Being physical when he has to, and also being finesse when he has to. So very, very cool. How do you go for 6 touchdowns, damn near 400? Damn near 400 yards of total offense, and you're not the number 1 player. Why? Because Trip Baysinger went absolutely nuts. 14 of 24 for 302 yards and 2 passing touchdowns, and then he ran the ball 27 times for 247 yards and 6 touchdowns. An 8 touchdown performance, scored every touchdown or had a hand in every touchdown. And Ellie's it was an upset for me. I thought that Winnsboro was going to win, and a huge win for Liberty Eylau. Those Leopards got it over an 8 touchdown performance. Now Tripp's been on top of this list the last 2 weeks because he's been going nuts all year, but this game is incredible. This is where you make a name, like a legend for yourself. Like, they'll never forget the time he scored all 8 touchdowns in a playoff game for the next 25 years in Texarkana. They'll never forget the playoff run that he's going through, and especially if they pull off the incredible feat of beating Malakoff. So those are your top 10 players of the week. Let's get into these. Here we go, the top 10 plays of the week. At number 10 is Parker Poteet from Malakoff. He goes up, and man, what a one-handed grab that was. A decent return. He also had a big 63 catch and run from Mike Jones as well in this game. Great interception there at number 10. At number 9, we're in Louisiana, where Texas High is playing P&G. David Potter throws it up to Trey Ball, catches it, runs by 2 of them, and he shows where he's going to Oregon, running by the entire defense. What a play there from Ball. And number 8, Moffitt, and watch the defender. Oh my goodness, got him drunk and silly. Great out and up route there from the van receiver, catches it and gets all the way to the 1. Got to score that one. And number 7 is Kason Brooks, throwing this one up. What a play. Jaden Sanders, what a dime, certified dime there. Here we go. At number 6 is Trip Baysinger. And this one, throwing this one out to DeQuane Prevost. And he's showing everybody why he's a D1 commit. Go stupid here. Makes everybody miss. Tight ropes the sideline. Almost gets into the end zone. What a play that was. At number 5, we're out. And this is Sheffield's interception. Steps in front of it. And he's going to go 62 yards, make him one miss. Run behind your blocks, get down that sideline, pick 6 there for Kilgore. And number 4, it is Trip Baysinger throwing this one out to Prevost again, and watch him go stupid on this screen. Makes 2 defenders run right into each other, makes him miss. He's swerving all through the place. Touchdown, LE. Crazy play. And number 3, back out in Kilgore. Well, not in Kilgore, in Corsicana. He's throwing this one out to Jaden Sanders. Hey, he's going to carry this dude for about 8 yards, then spin off of him and go all the way to the 1. Stupid strength there from Sanders. And number 2 is Trip Baysinger. Gets hit in the hole like a ballerina, spins up out of it, and then the other 50 yards, everybody else forget about it. Baysinger to the crib. And that great play is only outshined here by an amazing one-handed pick there from the Malakoff defensive end. Don't know his name, but what a play that was. I'll tag him later. 65 yards to the crib. What a play that was there. So those are your top 10 plays. So let's get into it. Those top 5 games of the week. At number 5 is Dangerfield versus Woodville. And Dangerfield's hit their stride. Dangerfield they're here now. They kind of started out very slow, 1-4 to start the year off. Everybody thought, it's Fire Nelson. Everybody wants to get rid of Devin as soon as, things don't go their way out there in Dangerfield. But they kept it together. They got a great turnaround, and they had a great, they got great talent out there. But they finally got it on board. Chase Johnson is playing the best ball of his career as a senior, and he's played some great ball. So they had a great chance. They're playing Woodville. Woodville's a good program. They've been around for a while. The only likely opponent is Newton, and Newton actually beat Woodville. And I know you're not supposed to compare scores, but they kind of handled Woodville. And Dangerfield just kind of blew Newton out. So I kind of like Dangerfield's chances. I'm definitely rooting for him, representing the 903. Kind of invested in these guys. I've been covering Chase Johnson for a while, so I want them to continue their winning ways and get to that state championship. So let's go Tigers. At number 4, we've got a battle of 2 East Texas teams that used to be in the same district for the last 2 years. Now they're not in the same district. It's Van and Carthage. Very familiar with each other. The Moffitt Bros have been down there. Jackson's been starting since his sophomore year, so every year he's seen Carthage. And this is the 3rd year in a row they're going to see each other, this time for the regional final in Pine Tree and Longview on Friday night. Van, tough team. They're always physical. They're going to run the football. They're going to try to control the clock. And they've got a playmaker back there in Jackson Moffitt that can run the ball, also throw it down the field. They're going to play great defense. They're going to rally to the ball. And, they're feeling like this is their best chance to get at Carthage, who Carthage looks a little beatable. And usually that's not something you say about Carthage this time of the year. He's got more rings than he has playoff losses. So everybody's a firm believer in what Surratt does down there, in all of the respect. But Carthage doesn't look as great as they have in the past. They didn't play too hot of a game against Pleasant Grove. Pleasant Grove kind of shut them down until the 4th quarter when Benny Smith exploded. But they just didn't click. And then they've also lost already, which is usually not something you see from Carthage. They usually don't lose early in the year. Of course, we see how good Kilgore is right now, so you can't really say too much about that loss. But if there's a year to get Carthage, this is the year. They got the Cinderella story going in Van, the whole family Moffitt thing, the dad, the 2 brothers, the 2 sons on the team, senior year. The storyline is there for Van, so it's kind of very intriguing. But it is a Carthage. It is the machine. So I'm not going to go against the Bulldogs. It'll be a very intriguing game to watch. At number 3, on Saturday in Waco, DeSoto and Longview are hooking it up again. John King is 4-0 against Mathis. That's going to be the storyline. That's what, the storyline is in DeSoto. You best believe that's what he's telling his team to fire his team up, that he's never beat this guy. And he's twice at DeSoto, twice at Marshall. So, that's going into the game. And this is this was supposed to be a rebuild year in Longview. Nobody thought this was going to happen. We all thought second or third round. We all had our private conversations. There's no reason to front about it now. And look at this team in the quarterfinal and looking good. They're playing great defense. They're stopping the run. They are stopping the pass. Even though Klein Collins got off late, but they got off the gas. They were up 42 like the 70s. It's hard to stay into a game against a talented team like that the entire game. I like Longview. I don't know if they're going to win, but I'm not going to bet against the Lobos right here. Definitely not against the home squad. Boosie's been incredible. Over 2,100 rushing yards in 13 games. That's an incredible record. This is something we haven't seen. And Boosie is really like a really good receiver too. But so we've been handling and pounding people all year long. Like, why switch it up now? A tough running game, a strong defense. Where is DeSoto strong at? Obviously the passing game. Kelvin Ryan, Virginia Tech quarterback commit. Very good football player. D1 receivers everywhere. But it's typical DeSoto. That's what they do. And this is typical Longview. It's what we do. It's going to be fun. I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if Longview walked away with the game. That would be the only outcome that would surprise me, if Longview just blew the socks off of them. I don't see that happening on either side. I don't see DeSoto kicking their ass. I don't see Longview just coming out and flat out kicking their ass. I believe we're in the 4th round. These are 2 great programs. Nobody's getting their ass kicked. And I tell you this, you never bet against the Lobos. So we'll see. Good luck to the home squad. We'll see what we'll do. At number 2, it's Kilgore and Chapel Hill. And honestly, this game will be number 1, but I'm tired of looking at it. I'm tired of seeing the same 2 teams in the 4th round now playing. Obviously, game 4 years in a row, I believe, at this point. 4 times in a row, Chapel Hill and Kilgore are hooking up in the regional final. They've been in the same district every year of that time, from 21 to 22 to 23 to 24. These guys have played 4 years in a row. And it's going to be a fun matchup. It's the battle of the Bulldogs. Both teams know exactly what each team is going to do. Now, who's the best looking team? It's Kilgore. I think this is the team that's going to win state. I think it's their year. I think they're mean and tough on defense. I think they're smart and efficient on offense. I think they're physical in the run game. I really like what Kilgore has to offer. And Chapel Hill, doesn't look as sharp as they have in this point in the season. Malik G has been playing and producing that quarterback, but he's no Demetrius Brisbane. But how much of Demetrius Brisbane do we see? We saw splashes of him coming back from injury last week. This is a kid who's a Division I player coming off of an injury. Do you play him? Do you play him a lot? Do you protect him because he's a college guy? Or he put it all out on the line one time to try to win the state championship? That's an interesting storyline to watch, and it's very intriguing to see how Chapel Hill will manage Brisbane and how much he'll play. And obviously, when he's in a game, he's going to get in and run. So, that'll be interesting to see. Ricky Stewart, he's been the man against Kilgore his entire career. Does he have another fantastic performance in it? We don't know. I like Chapel Hill. They found some more playmakers to get the ball to. Not quite sure who number 2 was, but he emerged this past game. Did pretty well. Defense is fast and physical like always. They made plays in the special teams in last week's game. So I like Chapel Hill. They have a reason to fight, but I do think Kilgore is probably the best team in Texas at that division. And the number 1 game is Liberty Eylau versus Malakoff. 2 outstanding quarterbacks, Trip Baysinger, Mike Jones. One incredible name, too. I love saying Mike Jones. It's so much fun. Who? Mike Jones. But no, Malakoff versus Ellie two players that are definitely fighting for the number one player in East Texas. When that list drops, the winner of this game probably has a lot of sway. It's almost like trying to win the Heisman. It's a late game in December, late game in the year. It's almost that time. Who's going to win that Heisman between Mike Jones and Trip Baysinger? This is the game to prove it. An outstanding defense in Malakoff. That's what their program is. That's who they've been this entire time. They're physical. They get after you. They don't let it. These are the games that they're made for. They've seen the high flash offenses before. They shut down Winnsboro last year with Kyler Finney. When that offense looked to be absolutely incredible, they shut them down. This is another opportunity and a test for them to prove who they are. And I'm kind of leaning towards Malakoff. I like Trip Baysinger. I like the story. I like him leaving Hooks and going to go play at LE and getting eligible and playing and going absolutely nuts. That's like, I love that story. But it's a story in a Cinderella, and I think Cinderella gets swat most of the time when they go against the machine. And Malakoff is that. They are a machine. So it'll be very interesting to see what these two games. I mean, obviously, I think the state champion emerges from this game, because if LE finds a way to beat Malakoff, they're the best team in Texas. Baysinger's probably the best player in Texas. He's probably Mr. Texas football in 3A anyway, or 4A anyway. Whatever A they are, I think they're 4A. So it'll be a very intriguing and interesting game to see. There's a lot of games to go watch this Friday and Saturday. Well, one game on Saturday to go watch Longview. But there's 4 other games so y'all can go watch. I've got an NFHS. I'm going to be flipping back and forth between all of them. Might even probably going to go watch Kilgore and Chapel Hill. It's right up the road in Forney. So that's probably where I'll be at Friday. But, man, go East Texas, go 903. And like that, I'm out.